Hey guys, happy Sunday. It's Tori Speedy. This is going to be episode 5 of Tapped In with Tor. Everything has tried to keep me from recording this today. And this weekend, I ended up getting sick again. Feeling much better, but as you can tell, I was very, very congested, and I'm kind of coming out of that. But I'm just grateful that I'm here and I'm able to do this today because I almost lost my voice. Like, I was right there. I think I got underneath it fast enough. Like I said, I'm just grateful to be here doing this because I do know the importance of being consistent in something that you're pursuing, right? So today, I kind of mapped out what I was going to talk about because I was so distracted and didn't feel well, and I had a little bit of downtime to do that. So these are things that I don't feel like a lot of people really consider. I do feel like the majority of people really kind of lack self-awareness as a whole and just lack the desire to go deep. A lot of people just kind of put up walls and carry their pain or their trauma or, I don't know, just habits, old habits with them everywhere they go. So today I wanted to talk about how I developed a strong, still a work in progress, but a strong self-concept and why that's so important, how I did it, how I started doing it, and in turn, it is a high frequency mindset. So if you know, if you don't, that's why I'm here. And just really kind of how to tap into flow state and alignment. Yeah, I know some of these things can be kind of woo-woo. However, I'm going to just keep it pretty straightforward. And, the Bible talks about manifestation, and I think that there are false teachers and false prophets out there, like teaching the wrong things, but I'm going to just talk about these things based on science. Dare I say, science. I'm not saying trust the science, I'm saying just quantum physics. I'm not saying, let's worship Dr. Joe Dispenza, but, let's be real. I do believe that we attract like people. I think that we set intentions and we make it very crystal clear on what we want to achieve, and we focus on that while not focusing on things that we're not worried about. Like, we do pull those into our life, those experiences. I mean, I'm living proof. I've done it. Like, I've 100%, I feel like I've manifested things in my life. And so I don't know. So some of the things that I've done to develop a stronger self-concept. So this is something that's always a work in progress. I feel so strongly about these things because I've not always had a strong self-concept. So when you have that sense of identity, when you know yourself, no one can shake you, right? You're not going to be as bothered. I just use this as an example because I came across this reel earlier and it said, when you react to something, that you actually give your power to that thing, right? Or your energy as well. So the importance of having that identity and doing that identity work and being so rooted in yourself and knowing yourself is that, say you can recognize things, like you know yourself. So you're not going to be shaken by things. You're going to know your potential. You're going to know that maybe when something that is out of your control pops up, you're going to be able to just handle it and move forward, and it's not going to shake you like something else did, a year ago. Or, someone makes a comment online, I'll be the first one to say that I used to have my Instagram used to be a fitness Instagram. So I used to compete. I competed in figure. And yeah, I had some people say some pretty horrible things to me that they don't stick with me anymore, but did they used to bother me? Hell yes. I would just dwell over it. I'd be like, I can't believe this person said this, or I can't believe this person thinks that about me. It's like, who gives a fuck? Really? At the end of the day, how you feel about yourself is everything, and if you don't respect yourself, then no one will, right? So a couple of years ago, I found myself just kind of shaken to my core, right? I just had some things kind of go on in my life, not even important to talk about, but just it was an uprooting of relationships, of romantic relationships, friendships, betrayal, things that I just had to face head on because they affected my life in many ways. So I'm definitely not the person that I was a few years ago. I have stronger boundaries. I feel I'm a lot more confident in myself. I didn't grow up with a lot of cheerleading, so I know that some people can relate to that. And so I was a person that, while I had those things happen, this is when it all kind of came to the surface, right? A couple of years ago. I was like, okay, I gotta face these things head on, right? I have no other choice. But growing up, like I was kind of bullied and vulnerable moment, you know, I had people just kind of project, you understand that like people are just speaking from their own experience. They're speaking from their level of perception, right? You learn as time goes on to not take things as seriously because you do realize that, yeah, like that person's like obviously hurt. Like if someone says something about you or treats or is hateful or judgmental, it doesn't always even have to be like negative criticism. You know, when you have that strong sense of self, you're not as shaken by those things. You're like, okay, God bless you, moving on with my life, don't care, right? But back then, I didn't have that strong self-concept. So when people said things to me, I internalized that. It 100%. I don't feel like I really started living my life until I was like 25 and I'm 31. Truly, I ended up just kind of internalizing those things and carrying that pain along with me and putting up walls and, all that does is kind of hurt you in the long run, right? Yeah, so fast forwarding, a couple of years ago, having some things show up, I was like, okay, enough is enough. Let's get this down, okay? So the first things, and I've really actually never seen someone go into a video like this, and maybe that's why I'm doing this, okay? Because I really feel like it's on my heart for a reason, and I really hope that it just, it finds someone, it finds the right person. I know that I'm a hairstylist of almost 5 years now, and I have some really incredible women that sit in my chair, and it always tends to be like therapy, like my place is a safe space. And, it just seems like I've just had people put on my heart a lot that I was supposed to share certain things. So how I developed this was I first got out of my head. I was like, okay, like the thoughts that I'm thinking aren't benefiting me whatsoever, okay? Let's shake this off. So I realized, it's all mind, body, soul. I started working with a coach, and it was because I found her podcast, and she talked about money and mindset and manifestation, and I was really inspired by this. I started to do things kind of out of my norm. I started to read a lot more. I read a lot of nonfiction books. If it's out there, I've probably read it. Honestly, I probably have listened to it, and if I've listened to it, I have the hardcover stacked somewhere in my place. So when I first faced this head on, I started to wake up every day. I was like, okay, I'm going to get into this routine. I'm going to start going to the gym consistently again. I'm going to prioritize my well-being mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And sometimes these things don't happen until what they call, I don't know if you've heard of this, it's called like a dark night of the soul. So if you've had something that really shakes you to your core, that's kind of what I was referring to. However, looking back at these situations, I will share that it's like, wow, that was so necessary. Like I couldn't imagine being in that situation or being with that person or calling those people my friends. You just see clear, you start to love yourself, right? And you learn not to settle and you don't have those insecurities. And I was meant to share these things. I had this journey I'm learning because I was meant to pour into other women, 100%. And that's where I was going with my salon talk. Like, I love pouring into women. I love when they sit in my chair. I think hair has been the vessel to something amazing in my life. I have the most incredible women that sit in my chair, and I can call them my friends and my family. So I love that. So some of the things I started to do was I would get up same time every day. So give yourself grace as you start to kind of do these. So I would get up. I'm like, okay, no matter when I start my day, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. I still do this to this day. So I've been doing this consistently for about 2 years now. I write, and I could even show you guys. Let's see what I wrote here first this morning. So 2-2, it's Sunday. Happy Sunday. I write my rest, my weight. A lot of people might not be a fan of that. You can do that if you want. But I did that because I was consistently going to the gym again, and I thought it was very, very important just to log my results, right? My intentions and gratitude. So I got 6.5 hours of sleep, I think. I didn't log my weight actually today. My intentions, and then gratitude. So the most important part of this is just being consistent and keeping your word to yourself and gratitude. So when you're focused on what you're grateful for, even when things are falling apart, even when you're not where you want to be, you might not feel it the first or second day, okay? You might not feel it after a week, but after a few weeks of you doing this and making a point, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you have to do that morning. When you sit down first thing in the morning and you write down at least five at least, I think I wrote 15. I write as many as I can. Over time, making that a habit, you start to create new neural pathways in your brain. Like, you will learn to see the silver lining. You will start to recognize all the good things in your life. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm grateful for this. I love rainy days. I'm like, I love this rainy day that we had. I put I write down rainy day. But my gratitude always starts with God. Like, I always put God first. I put His mercy. I put positive reinforcement, embracing change, love, my health, aligned opportunities, new connections, the ability to take care of my body and move my body. Those are just a few. I won't go into my super personal life, but yeah, just really, really focusing on that gratitude first thing in the morning before anything. This didn't kind of start until like the last 6 months. I started doing it consistently, but I started to meditate. So I started doing like guided meditations, even if it's 5 minutes. There's so many on YouTube or Spotify. I don't know about Apple Music. I'm a hater on Apple Music. Like, I don't use it. Sorry. I'm team Spotify because there's just so many, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like cool people use Spotify. So there's a lot on there. I have playlists. Like, I'd be happy to link my playlist that I've made, but I've also thought about creating my own meditations. Let me know if you're interested because it's like on my to-do list soon. And also affirmations. This was something that I started to do when I started to work with this mentor. Really just to start, like, when you start to talk to yourself differently, it changes your brain. It totally changes your brain. I said this in my last video, but you can, like, my friends. When I'm around my friends, if they're talking negatively about themselves, I'm like, no negative self-talk, like, not around me. You know what I mean? And I have to check myself too because, there's things that happen and I'm just like, gosh, like, Tori, dumbass. And it's like, no, check it. It's not going to come easy, but like, check yourself. Or if you're talking negatively about your body, stop. First of all, do something about it, right? But like, check yourself. You got to check yourself right in that moment because that's when you start to make it a habit, okay? And it takes, 14 days to create like a new habit or 21 days to create a new habit. I don't know. It's 14 or 21. I should know this because I'm preaching it, but you get it. A couple other things that I did was, like the self-compassion, self-talk, mirror talk. I know this sounds crazy, but I would wake up in the morning and I would look at myself in the mirror. And this is also something that I did. I would do it naked sometimes. Weird, I know. But you get to a point where you just start to be more comfortable, especially if you're a highly critical person of yourself like I was. Like I said, I was kind of coming out of like I found myself in like a very toxic relationship and I got out. But over time, if you're with someone that kind of starts to plant seeds of doubt, you kind of start to believe that. Just like if you start to talk to yourself positively and with grace and compassion and love. Like, when's the last time you spoke love into yourself? Think about it. When is the last time you talked shit about yourself? Stop that. Right? It's like, so I started to do this in the mirror. I'd wake up and I would just affirm the things that I wanted to feel about myself. I'd be like, I am intelligent. I'm beautiful. Today's going to be a great day. I'd be like, God, I cannot wait to see what miracles you have in store for me today. Today's going to be an amazing day. I'm attracting like-minded individuals in my life. I am kind. I am compassionate. I am successful. I am loving. I am whatever, right? So it's about how you want to feel about yourself. I started to look at challenges because I had a lot in my life at that point. I started to look at them as opportunities and embracing change, embracing where I was in that moment, just not really accepting it, but just being like, okay, like I got here because I wasn't really in control. Like, I just kind of landed here. It's like, I wasn't accepting my situation, but I accepted the fact that I had to be proactive in changing things, right? And I knew that I had to show up for my clients, even if I didn't feel like it. I knew that I had to talk to myself nicely. I knew that I needed to go to the gym to get those endorphins and feel good about myself and be consistent, right? And like kind of get in that flow state. I got really clear on my goals. So, like I said, every day, sitting down, getting consistent, doing my mirror talk, my affirmations, meditating, doing those guided meditations that I was talking about. I started to write out my goals and get crystal clear. I made a vision board, and I can also link a couple below that I've made over like the last couple of years and just kind of how they've changed. And believe it or not, like I've called a lot of those things into my life, and it's because I sat down and I got very, very clear on what it was that I wanted. It didn't just happen overnight. I ignored negativity and negative self-talk, right? I just blocked it out. I was like, nope, not feeling like that. Nope, we're done with that. And anyone that made me feel like shit, anyone that was like a half-assed friend, I was like, bye, you can't sit with us, right? Like I never say that, but I'm like, you can't sit with us, okay? So writing out your goals, say you want to make, it doesn't always have to be money related. For me, that was like what kept me going, like my business. I was like, I have to show up, no, regardless of what is going on in my life. I'm running a business. I have to show up to the best of my ability, even if I don't feel like it. Even if my mental is not there, I'm going to do everything in my power to be there and show up for them because they're paying me. And like, I have to be able to pour into them. And yeah, so that is resilience that I've built as well, because it wasn't always easy to show up for people when I couldn't show up for myself, right? So that's when I knew I needed to change. Like when it starts to negatively affect other aspects of your life, you're like, okay, no, this isn't how it goes. With that being said, you know, I would just be like, okay, I want to make X amount. I'd look at my projected and be like, okay, I want to make X amount a week or X amount a month. This is my goal. I want to make it to the gym X amount of days. I would write out my workouts. A lot of people give me shit for this, but like I'll post my little workouts. Like I love closing my rings. It's like one of those little things. Like I closed my rings today, yay. But like I went and hit back today and hit like a little bit of like arms lightly. I got a really good workout in, and I woke up early. I got 1,500 steps in today. Like my goal is 10,000 steps. So that was one of my goals. I walked the dogs. However I could get my steps in. I walked 5 miles, so I went on a little night walk, but so many of my friends give me shit. I think that it's all love, right? But they, like, I'll post my workouts on my Instagram story, and it's just like, okay, if that means getting an accountability partner or messaging me and saying, hey, I did my workout today. Yeah, I'm also thinking about just making a group, like having a community of women who just want to dive right into this mindset and, you know, self-love and all these things that I'm talking about. Because I know there's so many of us that like enjoy these things. And I think that, you know, when you're around other women that love it too, it's like there's just this like domino effect, and you just have like the best influence on each other, right? So maybe that's something I'll do in my future. But, you know, getting clear on your goals, saying, okay, I'm going to make it to the gym 4 days a week. Okay, if you can't make it 4 days a week, don't say that you're going to make it 4 days. Be realistic. While making these goals, say, okay, look at my schedule, look at your schedule that week. If you have kids, it's like, okay, I can't, maybe I'm going to go to the gym 3 days because I have sitter, but I'm going to do 2 workouts at home. Commit to it, write it down, get crystal clear on it. Be delusional as well. Like when it comes to the things that you want for yourself long term, like I would be delusional. I'd be like I said, even when things aren't ideal, or when you're really trying to, I guess that's what I should say. When you're in that low frequency mindset, so let me pull up this chart. I had it saved in my laptop, but I'm live on there. So when you're in a low vibration, you're in a low frequency mindset, you may be feeling shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire is actually like lack of self-control, pride, courage, and then there's neutral. You're kind of in the middle. And then there's willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment, and then it's ultimate consciousness. If you know, you know. So I'm going to also discuss that a little bit. See if you can pull, yeah. Okay. When you are in a low frequency mindset, okay, so shame, the worst, guilt, anger. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know if you've hit rock bottom, because I have a few times. It might be very hard for you to sit here and be like, gratitude? I'm just being realistic because I feel like someone needs to hear this, okay? Like attracts like. Misery loves company. So when you're in this low frequency mindset, you know how hard it is to kind of snap out of it. Me, I have to physically get out of, I have to be like, okay, I got to get out of my head. I got to get out of my body. I got to get into my body. So I felt, even after my workout today, I had a really solid workout. But I'm also in a season of change and a lot of unknowns. And just learning to control the controllables. And I know that I want to move here I'm going to have to put in my 60-day notice here in 2 weeks. I know I'm not going to stay where I'm at. I know that work is subject to change. Just lots of changes, right? And so sometimes the unknowns can be very overwhelming, as well as other things in my life. So even after my workout, I was I got home, I sat down to do my podcast. I'm I'm just in a funk. I can't do this right now. My head's spinning. I'm anxious. And this is not a feeling that I feel a lot, very often anymore. I used to be an anxious mess. I used to be just a hot mess express sometimes. I wasn't always messy. It was just I've just had periods in my life where I'm okay, how do we get out of this? When you're in these states, it's just really important to break it. Get yourself out of it. First of all, when I'm feeling some type of way, I'm I rebuke this feeling in Jesus' name. I rebuke the spirit of procrastination. I rebuke the spirit of lack. I rebuke the spirit of laziness, because those are spirits. I rebuke those in Jesus' name, first of all, and then I get out. I went on a walk, and I ended up walking 3 miles, played meditation music out loud, and it was just so needed. It was I got out of my head, and I got into my body. I did some deep breathing, and I just focused on what I could do in that moment, right? So when you are in that space, it's sometimes okay, be delusional. I am making X amount a month, or I am in a loving, committed relationship. Delusional. It's so funny. Attracts like. So start speaking life into yourself. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Okay, it's in the Bible. Start speaking life into yourself and stop talking shit to yourself, especially when you're just dwelling on something. And I learned very recently that venting, this is something that I'm practicing, because there are times that, you're just you want to call your girlfriend and you're I can't believe this happened, or this happened, low frequency mindset, anger, shame, or apathy, just feeling sorry for yourself. It's no, we don't play that. We have goals, we have a vision. We have things that we want to accomplish. I'm not just going to go through the motions. I'm not going to feel like this. When you vent, you're actually reinforcing that. Your brain starts to believe it more. You actually start to draw in more of that. So quit it. Even if it's something that's going on and it's really hurtful, or you got betrayed, I've been there. Fake it till you make it. Be I'm in a loving, committed, and amazing relationship with someone who shows up for me, and just whatever you want, right? Just start to speak that into your life. I make $10K a month. I do this. I have a hot ass body. I meet the right people. I'm always in the right place at the right time. Just start speaking life into yourself. And, stop giving your power away to things that really don't mean anything. It's and so when you don't have this self-concept, I'll just kind of go into what I wrote down, right? It's being in that low frequency and then having a poor self-concept, you're giving your power away a lot. You're giving your energy away a lot. It feels like performing. It feels like going through the motions. It can feel confusing. It can feel like insecurity. It can affect your own values and your goals. You can lose sight of things, Authentic connections. You are tolerating things that you don't really want to tolerate. It can cause stress and anxiety, which we rebuke that in Jesus' name, right? And for me, this is something that affected me for a long time. Failure to show up. Fear of showing up, which is a real thing. Fear of failure. Fear of success. That's very real. I've done a lot to break lack mindset. So there's no way that you can kind of get into that flow state or alignment when you have these things going on, because fear is a low vibration. So it's about practicing these things consistently over and over and over, and just stop focusing on what is going wrong. Stop focusing on your friend or your boyfriend or your girlfriend that stresses you out, or like you get a bill in the mail and you're like, I wasn't expecting this. Stop giving that your energy. Feel that shit and let it go. Be a fucking gangster every once in a while. Be like, all right, like, let's boss up. I'm going to figure it out. Speak life into yourself. Like, I'm a boss bitch. I can do this. Like, I can do hard things. Like, it's a mindset. It goes back to mindset. And so when you cultivate that self-concept, nothing can shake you. And so what happens with that is the more you do that, it's like a muscle. The more you do that, you build self-confidence. I will be the first one to tell you that you cannot get confidence through validation on social media or through a boyfriend. You can't put your self-worth and your lack of self-acceptance or your happiness onto someone else. Like, you have to be full by yourself, love yourself, respect yourself before anyone else can. Okay? And so, I don't know, it's like when you learn to be more conscious of these things, it is ultimate consciousness, right? Enlightenment. I hope a light bulb just came on for some of you guys, because like when I learned that I was in control of all of these things, like when I was really in control, and I'm not a control freak because I let shit go too. It's like, you can't control everything. You tap in to what we call alignment or flow state, and it's pretty beautiful. Like, it's just a beautiful place to be. And so all of these things in conjunction with, tracking your if you want to take it up a notch, tracking your macros. I do this every day. Going to the gym, I get some kind of movement in every day. I don't care if I don't make it to the gym. I'm going to at least stretch, and I'm going to practice breath work, and I'm going to go on a longer dog walk, controlling the controllables, because some things happen, and sometimes you'll have those days where it's like everything keeps you from doing what you need to do. But when you get up and you set those intentions and you be intentional, you're like, no matter what happens, I'm going to put my focus in on these things. And you spend time with yourself, with God, and you self-reflect, or, you're able to notice, like, okay, I'm in my head today. Like, I got to get out of I'm going to go in nature, ground yourself, like, take your shoes off, put your feet in the dirt. Like, that's what I like to do because I'm crazy. I probably shouldn't say that I'm crazy because I'm not. It depends on who you ask. Some of these things are just so, like, not talked about, right? And so I geek out when I meet someone and they're on the same wavelength as me. I'm like, we're on the same wavelength, baby. Like, let's go. Like, let's go on a walk. Let's talk about our journey. Like, what do you do to feel, I don't know. If you know, you know, right? And so I'm in this beautiful place in life where it's like, no matter what happens to me or what is thrown at me, I'm just a gangster these days. I'm like, okay, let's go. I don't have 30 friends that I can call up and like have a giant, like, I'm gonna have probably 4 bridesmaids, okay. Those are 4 solid freaking girls, okay. I'm in 2 Bible studies and have this amazing church community. 2 years ago, I didn't have that. I hit rock bottom and I was like, I'm going to start going to church. And I went by myself, sit in the back pew. And now I cry and go to worship nights with these girls and sit in the front row, while also giving myself grace. If I'm tired, sometimes I just watch it online, right? It's like, but yeah, it's amazing. It's been this thing that we've cultivated over time, and it gets better and better. It's like anything that doesn't align with where I'm going, it just doesn't have a place in my life now. And like, thank you, God, right? Some of these things that used to shake me to my core, no, I give it to God. I lay it at his feet. I'm like, God, I don't know. Do you? You know, just guide me. Put the lamp on my feet. Like, lead the way. I'm asking God more now. Every time I do something, like, even if someone new comes in my life, I'll pray on it and and meditate on it. And I know it sounds psychotic to some people, but when you quiet all these things going on in the world, or these little minuscule problems that you make big by fixating on them, when you take your power back, baby, take your power back. It's like you're in control. Like, you're making waves. You're not doing anything that's going to keep you from making waves. You develop that confidence because it's a muscle. I have people tell me, and I have had poor self-concept, okay? People could say anything to me back in the day and I would just cry. But you learn that with that it comes resilience, and your stress threshold raises. And I'm really not even trying to be negative or like, woe is me. I don't feel sorry for myself. I'm not in victim mentality. I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't look at people or things that happened in my past. I don't take those into new things with me. You know, I see challenges and setbacks as detours and opportunities for change, and I embrace them. Especially if they're not in sync with the fruit of the Spirit. So I've also said this in a video. It's like when it comes to people or opportunities or anything, I'm like, does this align with the fruit of the Spirit? If not, then it's not aligned with God's plan for my life. And yeah, that's a beautiful place to be. And I think that I'm learning that we go through things so that we can help other people go through them. And this is also what I was going to say. And then I got sidetracked. Of course, my ADHD is like, I've had people meet me and I've expressed that I've like had times of loneliness. Like I just kind of got out of a season where I feel like God kind of isolated me because I was kind of losing sight on some of the things. Like I stepped outside of this alignment, started getting distracted, things that weren't aligned with the spirit of the, fruit of the Spirit. God pulled me back. Like I've met people and they're like, how could you be lonely? Like or they can't imagine that I have ever felt those ways. And I don't know. I feel like it's important to share things with people, and especially in times as such these, because there's so many unknowns and there's so many things that are going on in the world that are scary. And I think it's all meant to keep us out of alignment. It's supposed to keep us down. We're supposed to worry about No, we're not supposed to worry about politics, or these disasters that are going on. They are meant to shake you and keep you worried and keep you in fear. Because when you're in that low frequency, you're easy to control and you're easy to manipulate. So the more you build these muscles and the more you really build up that stress threshold in your life, become unstoppable. And you have that mindset. And it's like, come at me, bro. Don't come at me, bro. I rebuke that. But you know what I mean? You just adapt and move forward, right? So anyway, I hope this reaches whoever it needs to. I hope this helps someone. I hope that this resonates. And I want anyone to know that if you listen to this and you have questions or comments, or you don't know where to start, or if you're just going through something, or you want to be closer with God and you don't know where to start, or you don't feel like you can hear his voice, or you feel like you've never been able to hear his voice, please reach out to me. I think this is my purpose. I truly do. God has put this on my heart. He's like, share these things. Help people. We're supposed to overcome things so that we can step in places when we finally overcome them, because I want to help people. I want people to know in this time that they're never alone. You're never alone. God is always with you. And if you feel like you don't have anyone, you at least have God. You always have God, and you have me. Anyway, I'm going to get back to being gangster just in this. So anyway, like I said, I'm always here, and I hope this helps someone. By the time you guys watch this, if you make it to the end, because it's probably going to be, it's 42 minutes. It's going to be Monday. So I always say, make it a kick-ass week. Try to implement some of these things and keep it high vibing, okay? And if you don't know how, give it to God. Take it to God. Be like, hey, help. What's up? Truly. But anyway, make it a beautiful kick-ass week. Boss up. Make some money. Do something that brings you joy. Go to the gym. Remember to practice gratitude. And yeah, stay blessed.